Hi, you guys. I wanted to come on and talk about some YouTube junk. So I was listening to one of the other YouTubers. I don't know if he want me to put his name out there. Yeah, I tried. I might put a little snippet of what he's saying. But he's saying that Storm Monroe, who is also a YouTuber, was recently called out for quote unquote begging somebody for an interview for an exclusive. So, I mean, I guess it's a story that's out here, and maybe he thought it would be a good idea to interview the person. I don't know who he's talking about, but somehow it got back to this other YouTuber. So, let me know if you guys have any clue who he is referring to, because I don't follow Storm. I don't follow, I follow a lot of people on YouTube, but I don't follow them on their other platforms. So I don't know what they're saying on their other platforms. I didn't hear him say anything about wanting to interview anyone in particular, but who do you guys think it is? Let me know in the comments. And so the other person that I wanted to touch on in this video is young Pharaoh. Now, I don't know what's going on with young Pharaoh. Every time I go over there, it's a whole nother setup. It's a whole nother scene. He has some young lady sitting in the background. Why? I don't know. I don't know why she's not seated next to him. And it almost looks dark a little bit in wherever she's, because obviously she's not in the light, when they're filming. Um, he don't look like he really having a light on either, but it's definitely a dark. It just looks weird how she's sitting in this darkness behind him. But he's talking to her about her witnessing his ex, Golden Beauty, reaching out to him and begging, as he says, quote unquote, begging him to come back home, saying that she's not getting along with her mother or whatever. I believe she moved back to the Bay Area where she was from because, he lives in, I believe, in Texas. So he's saying that she's begging to come back. I don't know that I believe any of this, and I'm going to wait to see if Golden is going to respond to any of this. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. If you've been following him, who is this young woman sitting in the background, and why is she sitting behind him like that? Let me know in the comments if you guys are familiar with what's going on with him right now. Because every time I go to his page, it's always a different, setup, different person with him, or if he's by himself. He's still using a lot of the same language, so I don't know what's going on. Let me know what you guys think about that situation as well. Golden hasn't said anything yet, so but he was showing like some text messages or whatever. I don't know if they were really from her or not, but in the message, the person was saying that they were having issues with the mother and that they're ready to go or leave. It seems to me like Golden could get her own place. I felt like she probably went back to her family just to get back on her feet, right? Um, I don't know that she couldn't move out. She has her own channel and she also is employed. So I feel like she probably can move out and move into her own space. I don't know that I believe that she really reached out to him like that, but then that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. The third story, I'm going to play a little bit of what Murad Mareli had to say, and then I'll come back.
Last month, I spoke about what happened in my childhood, and I was in a very fragile state of mind. I just was not mentally there, and honestly, I just panicked and did not know what to do. I unintentionally weaponized my trauma. I used it as an excuse, and it masked over very important conversations that should have happened. What it was a missed opportunity for me to actually sit there and actually discuss about me engaging in race play when I was younger and actually taking responsibility for my actions, which is something that I did not do, but it's something that I'm going to do now. What I did was I shifted the blame of what happened in my childhood to my actions as an adult. And for me to put that narrative out there is something that is extremely dangerous and something that I would never forgive myself for doing. But I was just not in the right place of mind at all. Going through what I went through, it just made me very desperate, and I just wanted to remove myself from these dangerous situations. And from people who I know and myself, being sexually abused at a very young age, it put me in a line to go into a form of sex work. And due to the fact that I was overly sexualized at just a very young age, and then coming from the background and descent that I'm from, I then ended up being hyper fetishized by people around me, and that was how I began to engage in works of race play. Meeting these men, specifically when it comes to race play or the homophobic stuff, they would imply it and force it upon me, and I engaged in it sometimes purely for the money that I would receive. Typically from people that I know of at the time, as well as myself, when you do not comply with these older men in these hotel rooms, you can put yourself in very dangerous situations like I did, and a lot of my boundaries were constantly pushed. And at times when I would say no to these specific stuff, I would receive a lot of sexual and physical violence. Me engaging in race play at a younger age, I didn't really understand the profound impacts and effects that it would have on me. But of course, recently I've had to check myself, which is why in the last 4 to 5 years I've been in therapy dealing with this on a private matter. And then coming from the culture that I'm from, it is extremely difficult for me to speak on sex and kink related stuff on a public sphere, as well as why I just didn't really have any support system at the time or anyone to go and confide and help in. But by that no means justifies any of my actions, because nothing can justify my actions. The crux of the issue is racial hypocrisy. The crux of the issue is me engaging in race play. Because I engaged in race play at a younger age, am I able to discuss and support minorities and racial equality on my platforms, or am I a hypocrite for doing so? As well as having conversations about me engaging in race play, am I aiding and abetting institutional forms of racism, or is it just a dark kink like many other dark kinks out there, such as somebody who might be a feminist who engages in misogyny related kinks behind closed doors? Me witnessing and experiencing racism growing up, but especially engaging in race play related stuff when I was around 19 at the time, are reasons for why I'm very passionate and why I speak on issues very publicly, purely because of the regret and shame, embarrassment of my previous actions, but also because I feel like I want to do good. And this is something that I'm was dealing with privately for the last 4 to 5 years in therapy. I'm not honestly into this. It was just purely for the money that I would receive, which I then used to remove myself from dangerous environments, and then begin to afford therapy and then begin the healing process that I really needed. But irrespective of whether I'm into this or not, it does not change the fact that I am absolutely responsible for my actions. It does not change the fact that I'm absolutely responsible for how it's made every single person feel, especially for those who are not into kinks like race play. And instead, unintentionally, I spoke about my childhood and what I went through. For a cry for help, it was just it kind of blurted out. But what it did is that not only did it weaponize my trauma, not only did I not take responsibility at the time, but for every single person who came onto that video, I let every single one of you down. Every single one of you down. Especially for those of you who are my subscribers, especially those for you who've been watching me since the Blue Room, or watching me since university. For every single one of you who came to that video, I let every single one of you down. I was not in the right state of mind and frame. It was below par, and it was honestly pathetic, to be honest with you. There are no ifs, no buts, no excuses, and no trauma excuses especially. And me even saying I am responsible, in all honesty, I feel is not enough, because actions are not only powerful than words, but actions should also follow words as well. There are a few other things I want to outline. Some people, saying that I'm faking my heritage or pretending to be Arab to entice others. I am Pakistani and I'm very proud of that, but also I'm from Aden, Yemen, the south of Yemen, one of the oldest Arab countries in the world. A few other things I want to outline are these captions, and whilst it is extremely difficult to believe that these captions are not me, purely because I engaged in video related, race play related content, it is frustrating because I did not write any of that stuff, and I had a website purely for the money that I would earn, and this stuff was written in detail on blog sites, which I wouldn't need to do because I couldn't earn money from writing on blog sites. But also interracial and racialized related content especially is taken and used as fantasy literature for people who are really into it, hence they will write a lot of detailed related stuff. I have a lot of learning to do, a lot of processing, a lot of healing to do as well.
So yeah, he I guess he's trying to come back and clear up his first apology. Now, some people, they didn't find the first apology sincere. As you can hear, he said that he really was in a fragile state and he knew that he had to say something, so he just went on and tried to put something out here without really processing what he was saying. And so a lot of people were on Twitter debating his apology. You could tell that he was upset, right? Even just watching him try to apologize and try to explain himself and come up with this whole story about his childhood. Um, I think I'm gonna say this is just my opinion. Like I told you guys in the last video, and I still feel the same way. I don't really feel any way about it because I felt like if he was on OnlyFans, which is an adult website, it probably fell in line with the BDSM lifestyle, which is a underground lifestyle because a lot of that stuff is illegal here in America. But people do they do participate in all this stuff, even in America. Um, Also, you have all these people. Well, not all. Well, it's enough of them. People classifying themselves as black who are out here getting married, shackled, getting married with dog leashes on their neck. There was this whole thing on TikTok where interracial couples was doing some type of challenge where they was saying the black person was saying I'm a slave to this person. Um, it speaks to who people are today. So I don't understand why you're offended. If you are not offended by people having to demean themselves and demoralize themselves to be in a relationship, you're not viewed as human as this other person that you are in a relationship with. Why are you dwelling and talking about slavery when you don't want to talk about slavery? You don't want to talk about reparations. Let me go and put that in here. But you want to talk about slavery. You want to put men in shackles and put them on dog leashes and all this stuff. Then how can you be offended by what Ahmad Morelli was doing to these guys? First of all, the guys were, to my understanding, either they were paying him or he was paying them. So they were very much aware of the situation. Nobody was forced into anything. And so that's kind of my point. I can get why some people are offended because he, on his channel, often act as an ally to the Black and African American communities when discrimination topics come up. He would speak out on these issues. And so I get if you are somehow feeling let down because you thought that he was somebody who was sincere and all this stuff. But as far as people getting upset about him talking about call me master and all this nonsense, then you should be just as offended by all this other foolishness that go on out here. And I said what I said, because that's how I see it. It's all the same to me, period. But people can have their own opinions. Obviously, you can feel however you want to feel about it. People who are going to continue to watch his channel. He said doesn't mean he's coming back, but I think he's trying to test the waters to see if people are still, feeling away or if they're willing to dialogue with him. Because I personally feel like, I don't know that he's ever had a panel discussion on his channel. I feel like he should do that and really open himself up to that type of conversation, and let people ask him questions instead of him trying to create these statements to come out here and try to explain all this stuff. Because I think it would come off more sincere. And that's just my opinion, but he's going to do whatever he want to do. And obviously, YouTube is not going to do anything to him because this was not done on YouTube. This was all on OnlyFans. And I don't think he was showing his face. I'm not real sure how people knew it was him because I didn't watch the videos. I see that people had certain pictures or whatever of the videos on TikTok. I mean, not on TikTok, excuse me, on Twitter. And so I know the videos, they were out here and he obviously admitted to them. But yeah, I'm kind of puzzled by people trying to play like they so upset that he was asking somebody to call him master when y'all are sitting there watching all this other foolishness. I mean, and then black people treat other black people in degrading manners as well all the time. So I don't know. I don't feel any kind of way. It definitely makes you look at his advocating for certain things different, right? You definitely don't hear his voice the same, knowing that, he may hold some of these feelings that he's speaking against, right? I don't know because I don't know him, but I'm not outraged about it. And I still feel that way. But let me know what you guys think about what he had to say in this new video. If you haven't heard it, it's over on his page. It's about 7 minutes long. Let me know what you think about Storm trying to get an interview with somebody. I don't know who he's trying to get an interview with. If you guys know, let me know let me know in the comments. And what do you think about young Pharaoh still talking about Golden Beauty? He claims that she is asking to come back home, quote unquote home, to him, while he got this lady sitting in the background sitting behind him. Let me know what you guys think about all of this, and I will see you guys in the next video.